One of the ways I got better at relationships, like not just romantic ones, yeah, started with the family. It did. Now, I recognize that the family is also like the hardest people to stand up to, especially like your parents sometimes. And I have a long way to go. I'm getting better every day. But really, okay, I'm just going to share my experience. Yours may be different. Please share. But I noticed that like the root of so many of my bad relationships with men was, shocker, OG, King Baby. Okay? King Baby Dad, right? I will share a little bit more of that on my Patreon because some of those stories are a little too personal for here. There's a link in bio if you want to hear like longer personal stories. Join my Patreon. Even if you don't want to pay, join my Patreon because I send updates and stuff like that, whatever. Sorry, gotta plug the Patreon because I can't trust the algorithm to get my stuff to people who want to see it anymore. I will say this. One example that I'll share. I was telling my dad when we were on family vacation, and I got to bring one of my little friends on family vacation because I think my parents thought I'd be single forever, and they're like, Melanie needs a little friend to go out with. We don't want her going out dancing alone because I've done crazier things. And once my sister got married, now I've lost my partner in crime. So I would bring a friend. And my dad's like really inappropriate a lot of times. And he said something inappropriate to her. I was like, you can't say that stuff to my friends. I'm your dad, I can say what I want. You're right. This is a free country. Freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want. But I don't have to like it. And I'm allowed to respond however I want. And I was like, if you say stuff like that to my friends, I'm not going to want to come anymore. So then you don't get to hang out with me, right? He's like, oh. Ended it. I was like, wow, that was so easy. Wow. I was like, what, 36 when I did that? I'm a late bloomer, y'all. But little things like that, I have a lot more examples, but I don't want to share now, of me just being like, oh, right, you're not the boss of me. I'm the boss of me. And just because you're older than me doesn't mean you actually know more than me. If you have lots of experience, but you don't take the lesson, there's a chance I may know more than you. And also, as the daughter of a king baby, you better believe I was parentified anyway, right? Walking on eggshells, making sure the baby's okay. Even though I was the child, making sure the big old baby's okay. Some people are no contact. I respect that. I was no contact for a year while I... and then I decided, yeah, I'll give it a try. And then I learned how to set boundaries. But this is not about my dad, okay? I just want to give an example of me learning how to feel like an adult in my relationship with my family, and I still resort to 12-year-old, 6-year-old, 3-year-old Melanie sometimes around family. And IFS therapy has actually helped a lot with that. Let me know if you want me to talk more about that. And Anthony actually saw me once when he met my family. He's like, where did my wife go? Where did you go? You're 12. What happened? And I was like, just wait. And then he was like, oh, okay, makes perfect sense now. Anyway, I want to show you an example of somebody who wrote into a column, and this is the Melanie's column of responding to columnists, responding to people who write into that. Ask Hamlet, maybe. What the hell, Mel? Something. I haven't named it yet. Still taking suggestions, though. I've had several good ones. This one, though, I want you to see an example of somebody, and it's never too late to do this, right? Some of us learn how to do this in our 30s and 40s. I will probably still have to learn how to do major work around this in my 50s and beyond. Oh, are you bored? Yeah, okay. See, he's setting boundaries with me now. Ugh, I'm done for the night. It's a really good place to start because I can't tell you how much confidence you get. Oh, both of his ears. Oh. You get so much confidence when you can respond like an adult to people that you always thought you couldn't be on the same level as. You know what I mean? At a certain point, age doesn't give you seniority over me. I respect elders, but elders who are disrespectful, I don't respect you. I will be civil, but I'm not playing this game. Do you know who I'm trying to get rid of? The people pleaser. Hey, happy all the time. She ruins my life. In case you're wondering where I got these puppets, I ordered them on line for like $1 a piece. These were really big in France. So this is you can thank Anthony too. He's the one who brought me all these instruments and reminded me that I love puppets. Et voila. This little goody two-shoe, who is then later a pick-me in relationship, who's the people pleaser, approval seeker, go-to girl, don't want to disappoint mommy. I listen, I let her say her thing, but she gets vetoed all the time. I need to respect myself more than she needs them to respect me, okay? Or like me. They actually respect me more when I'm not acting like a people-pleasing little girl. And this is especially strong where I'm from. I'm sure I'm not alone. I will speak for my people, but little white girls in the South, hey, infantilized, people-pleasing, codependent, all the things that ruin your life. I'm not interested in it anymore. It takes me a while to stop doing it, but I'm not interested in that anymore. Today's column that doesn't exist that responds to a column that does, it's Dear Abby. My family won't visit me, so I have to do all the traveling. Why am I doing this one? Because I want people who follow me, who appreciate me at my Decentering men stuff and all that stuff. This is not about men. It's about decentering patriarchy, which is about taking care of everybody else. A lot of times it's like martyring yourself, wanting to be liked, right? And especially like women are not supposed to, well, at least where I grew up, we're not supposed to say what we mean or mean what we say. We're supposed to speak this weird language where there's 5 different ways of saying no without saying no. Well, none of them are like, no, thank you. No, I can't. Fork, no. Like, none of those. You have to be like, well, it's all subtext. And you know what? It tires my brain. It's exhausting talking that way and doing all of that. And you know what's great about being in France? I can't do that in French. I can't be passive aggressive in French because I don't have the language to manipulate. So on some level, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't learn much more French. But I try to look at it as, this is a new language where I can start over with good habits. Unfortunately, it's one of the hardest the hardest things I've ever done. Speaking this way, decoding this crap, being like, okay, well, the way she said it and her posture and the things she didn't say said more than what she did say. It is like, you might as well be speaking Morse code, right? What? Where here in France, people are more direct in general. Not quite like the Dutch. They're not like, hey, do you want to go on a date again? My friend literally, a man after the first date literally said that. She's like, so, like, do you think we'll hang out again? He was like, I don't think so because I don't find you attractive. I want direct, but not mean. But yeah. Whatever. I love you Dutch people, but sometimes y'all are mean. It's a little too honest. Anyway, I like a nice happy medium being direct and thoughtful, but direct, right? Let's get into it. I am talking too much. Dear Abby, I have been independent from my family for 25 years. Okay, let's do some math. Let's say 18. 18 plus 25. 23, okay? Roughly in their 40s, possibly. Maybe less, maybe more. I have always lived a few hours drive from them. I now live an hour away from my mother and 3 hours from my sister and her family. For every occasion over those 25 years, I have always visited them, spending time, money on gas, putting thousands of miles on my car, and sometimes taking time off from work. Never has anyone visited me. Never! Oh, 25 years, y'all. It's not like she lives in France. I understand why people don't visit me. It's expensive. That's a long flight. I don't expect anyone to visit me here. I'm always happy if they do, but they don't because it's a pain in the butt. I chose to move here. But this 25 years, assuming this is the U.S., and I'm assuming this is in a place where cars are the way to go. Not New York City or somewhere else, but cars. And in the U.S., a 3-hour car ride is like boop-a-doo, pop, right? Or here, a 3-hour car ride is a big old road trip. They've never visited other than once when my sister was passing through and wanted to have lunch. Passing through had lunch. That's what, maybe 2 hours. That sucks. Obviously, there is nuance in all of this, okay? People who still live with their parents, whether because of a housing crisis or because they're caretaking their parents or finances or disability or all kinds of reasons, right? So this, whatever I'm saying, is not for everybody, but you can also adapt it to your situation, because even within crappy situations that I couldn't get out of, I still learned how to advocate for myself. And you know why I like that word? Because in French, it's avocat. That's the word for lawyer, which I always get confused with avocado. But you know why I like that word? My French EMDR dude, who is awesome. I love him. It's like going and getting EMDR from Yoda. And y'all know I don't trust many men. It's very rare that I trust men or like listen to men. Very few men. And this is one of them. And he said a lot of survivors of multiple things from childhood in general don't have a lawyer for themselves. And so I think also the way that women are conditioned under patriarchy is we don't have a lawyer in our ear that's like, no, she's not doing that. That is not in my client's best interests. Hear ye. Melanie doesn't want to do that. That doesn't work for her. So I don't know what this is. What is this? What is this? I need to look this up. This puppet may be used for something else. I just bought a whole box of puppets. I don't know what, anyway. But the lawyer is here to defend you, advocate for you, negotiate, take the whole picture, look out for your finances, make sure, like, it's taking everything in. It's like, right? I am trying to ask, what would my lawyer say before I agree to do stuff? It's a great tactic. Because what would Melanie say? Well, Melanie's got like 5 different voices, and some of them are this one that's like, just like me. So the lawyer's like, this is what we're going to do, right? Because the lawyer wants to get paid. So if you win, they win. It's win-win. I'm going to stop with this metaphor. I don't even know how I started on this. The point is, learning to negotiate for yourself. Have a little lawyer. What would the lawyer say for me if I could afford one? What would they negotiate? And whether you're stuck in a situation or not stuck but want a relationship with somebody, but you have a really hard time like not being people-pleasing, codependent, blah, 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 whatever. What would this do? You know what? I actually think I want a woman lawyer. This one won't understand me. This is what I got for now. Because I tell you what, your lawyer would be pissed that 25 years your family's never seen you, never visited except for on their way somewhere else and just for lunch. Let's get through the rest of the story. I have invited my family countless times, but there's always an excuse. Often it's that my place is too small to accommodate them or that I have a roommate. I'm expected to spend my resources visiting them or go broke to have a place that can accommodate them. No. I hope you're not even considering that. Why would you get a bigger place to accommodate a family that's never going to visit? Because they don't seem to care all that much. And one of the reasons why they don't care so much and don't make effort is why would they? It's so much easier for you to go to them. Why would they move? This is why we have to just start saying no. No. As much as I want this relationship, if I'm doing everything, whether it's for a man, that's a big no. Big no. Y'all know that if you've been following me for a while. But I'm talking about friendships too. I'm talking about family. I'm talking about any relationships that are important to you that you want to feel respected in. If you're doing too much, you're going to become a resentful, bitter bitch, right? And if she wasn't driving to go visit them, she may have had a bigger house by now anyway, or at least not one with a roommate, unless she wants a roommate. I am reminded of this lopsided situation every time my roommate's family visits multiple times a year. They stay in hotels. Wow, imagine that. Another option. So it's not that your family wants you to buy a bigger house to accommodate them because they ain't coming. And it's not because your place is small. It's because they don't want to. And again, why would they if they don't have to? Now, I know. They should want to, and they should naturally do this. But sometimes they forget, for instance, a lot of boomers right now forget what it's like to have a job or small children or like a life that is overwhelming. On top of that, all kinds of debt, student loan stuff that they didn't have, right? All kinds of stuff. Now, some of them were dealing with way bigger problems if they are not from the most privileged communities. I mean, just women alone, like grandma was a hostage because grandma couldn't have money. So, you know, like whatever, everything's different, right? But a lot of people my age are frustrated with their parents who are retired, who are just busy bees, even though they don't have a job or like nearly as many responsibilities. So a lot of my friends have had to set being like, hey, I'm not coming all the way up there for Christmas this year. If you want to see the kids, I'm sorry. You got to come down here every once in a while. Stuff like that. Negotiating. Let the lawyer negotiate. I'm not confrontational. There's your problem right there. Get a lawyer. Get the lawyer. I love my family, but I feel some boundaries need to be established. They do. 25 years ago, they need to be established. But you know what? We all learn in our own time. Some of us have to hit a big old bottom and be so miserable and so in debt from doing crap like that before we're like, this isn't fair. I don't like this, right? Like, whatever. Whenever the lesson comes, as long as it comes, I try to be grateful. Am I unreasonable? No. If not, do you have any suggestions? All of me in Florida. What does that mean? All of me in Florida. I'm not getting that joke or reference. Now, Abby does not write much, okay? Abby is not a long-winded person like me. This is like 16 minutes already. So, but Abby misses something sometimes. Let's see what Abby has. Dear all. No, it's all of me in Florida. If it is not practical to continue traveling to visit your relatives, stop doing it. I love it. She's just like, just stop. Abby, do you understand how hard it is to be codependent, approval seeker, stand up to mom? I understand, okay? So a lot of people who don't know how, like, who aren't, I think most women are taught to be codependent on some level with all of, right? Like, we do too much, right? I'd argue men are codependent, but it looks very different because their confidence and image hinges on the approval of others, but it's like men, where our approval hinges on so many other things, plus feeling obligated to do everything for men. Anyway, but I do want to remind people that sometimes in my comments and stuff, people are like, just don't do that. And I'm like, well, wow, it never occurred to me. Sometimes these things really don't occur to me. I'm like, oh, I could say no. But sometimes when those comments come in, they seem a little like, duh. And it's like, yeah, okay. That's like telling an alcoholic, like, just stop drinking, bruh. And they're like, I never thought of that, right? Codependency, the chronic kind, it's an addiction. We can be like addicts. I speak from experience here. So just be like, stop doing it. Sometimes it's like a little harder than just that. But you gotta start somewhere. So stop doing it. Do not stop inviting them to visit you. I agree. However, and when you do, tell them they would be more comfortable staying in a nearby hotel or motel, which is what your roommate's family has been doing for years. Oh, Abby. Ooh. Okay, so Abby's like, just mention what your roommate's family does. Make them feel bad. I mean, a little guilt's not always a bad thing. You should feel bad that, like, how did you all not think of this option? Wouldn't they be like, well, wow, I never thought about a hotel. I love it, Abby. Oh, that's it. That's it, Abby. Abby does not find it difficult. If there's one thing Abby doesn't do, it is yammer on and on. The point being, no, not that one. Crap. This little people pleaser who wants mommy to be they don't respect her. Especially her when she acts like this, but is 43. She needs to hire him and y'all work together, okay? I'm tired of the puppet. Because if you can't stand up to your family, I'm not saying all of them, some of you just, no content, it's not worth it, la 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 la. Boundaries are not really with them, they're with yourself, right? That's what we've been learning about boundaries. She can't make them come visit, but she can stop visiting so much. I've actually done this in a few different scenarios, and it worked because I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to match this energy because I'm doing too much and I'm getting bitter. And then they sensed it, and then they came, sometimes it's a dance. 25 years of it. This stuff doesn't happen overnight, but it starts small. It starts small, y'all. And then each time you get practice, it's literally, again, boundaries are not to control people. Bully them. Set an ultimatum or any of that stuff, because that's like still trying to make people do stuff, right? The boundary is, I'm not going to spend all this money and time and effort doing all the driving anymore. That means that you're going to, miss them. Probably not going to see them as much for a while at least, but they may actually start coming to you, right? It's not that, everyone isn't always malicious in their treatment. A lot of times people just do the easier thing without really thinking. And especially if they don't know that you're pissed about it because you pretend like you're okay with it. And that's been one of my big lessons, is stop pretending like I'm A-okay, totally cool with this scenario that sucks, right? Because that's not honest. And when I went back and thought about a lot of the problems in my life, I was not being honest with people. I was lying through omission. Or just outright lying, being like, hey, you coming for this? Yeah, ha! Okay. That's not honest. Being like, if I said, yeah, I'm coming for Christmas, but honestly, I'm not stoked about it because I don't have money and I feel like I'm making all the effort and I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be able to do this because it's expensive, blah, 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 whatever, right? There's a way to do this that's not like, cut you off, I'm never seeing you again. You know what I mean? The rigidity around things, the punitive approach around things. I don't agree with that unless they're doing some real damage. I believe instead hiring the lawyer and letting them negotiate, because I do not show up as the best version of myself when I'm resentful. That's when I start becoming passive aggressive and start doing the same stuff that all the women in my region were taught to do. I don't want to do that. So if I want to not have to deal with passive aggressive people, it starts with me, right? Some people don't like it. Some people really hate it and don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. And that's one of the risks. Start small. And those baby steps, man, I can't tell you. I wish you could have met, no, actually, maybe. I'm not ashamed of her. I wish you could have met younger Melanie. You would be shocked, right? This is a hard-won confidence of constantly pushing myself to face my fear and make little changes, sometimes big, but usually just one change on top of the other. And then all of a sudden I was like, hey, look at you respecting yourself, acting like an adult, saying no to things you don't really want to do at all, but you did just because whatever. And it builds on itself. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Now it's easy. It's so easy for me to stand up to family members, bosses, whatever, right? I mean, it's not always easy. Okay, it's still really hard for me sometimes. But it's so much easier than it ever was. I'm the person who used to sit by the window on a plane and have to piss for hours. And I'm surprised I didn't give myself an infection. Because I'm I don't want to upset people because he's asleep or they're eating. I don't want to make people mad. And I would literally, I was a mess. I didn't even know how to ask people to let me use the bathroom. Y'all, this stuff is so deep. It's so hard to unlearn. But it's never too late. And it gets so much easier the more you do it. Facing that fear, bringing in your little lawyer, baby steps. And the more I can do that with the people in my life, more likely I was able to do that in my relationships with men. Because like I say, those relationships are so high stakes. I'm so glad that woman who wrote in didn't mention a husband or a boyfriend. Because if she's doing that with her family, chances are she's doing that even worse in her romantic relationship. Not always. Sometimes it's harder with our family than other people. But you got to start somewhere. Like, comment, share, follow my Patreon, even if you can't afford it, because you can be a free member and you get updates and random every once. I like sharing. I'll share stuff for free sometime. More personal stuff behind paywalls, other There's tiers, right? But thank you for listening and hire a lawyer, the imaginary kind. Et voilà.